Blackmagic is changing how we think about low-budget cinema cameras with powerful features and footage quality you only see in high-budget cameras. In the last episode, we looked at how to set up audio on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. But what is off-speed recording and how does it work in this camera? Find out in 180 seconds. Off-speed recording is a very useful feature in the Pocket Cinema camera. Off-speed recording basically allows you to shoot footage at a different frame rate at the project frame rate. So say your frame rate is at 24 frames per second, but you're shooting footage at 60 frames per second. Toggling on the off-speed recording setting will convert that 60 frames per second footage into 24 frames per second, meaning that the footage will be slowed down. Same applies if you decided to shoot the footage at 15 frames per second. Toggling on the off-speed recording button will speed up your footage to 24 frames per second. You can also adjust your project speed so it doesn't necessarily need to just be 24 frames per second. I'm just more using that as a reference. One thing to note while doing this is that the audio will not synchronize with your video when you select off-speed recording. So if you're needing audio, make sure to not use that setting and instead slow the footage down in post. So what exactly is the benefit of having footage already converted to the project frame rate? Well, it allows you to be able to preview footage slowed down in camera so you can see what it will look like in post. This can be valuable to test and review your shots if you are going, for that slow-mo type style video. This is different than say the Sony a7 III, which can film at 120 frames per second, but it really doesn't give you an option to view that in camera slowed down. This feature will also allow you to have some flexibility in your frame rates, allowing you to create some interesting effects on the speed of your clips. Like described before, setting a higher frame rate than your project will slow the footage down, while setting a lower frame rate will speed your project up. This is basically the same principle as cranking film cameras. Crank it faster to capture more to slow down the moment, or crank it slower to speed up the footage later on for faster moving sequences. The off-speed recording option is a more modern way to do that in this camera. And feel free to get creative with this and mix together interesting frame rates and see what it does. Lastly, using this option saves you valuable time when adding it to Premiere. You don't have to take the time to convert your video to the project frame rate like you would with other footage. So how do you set this up on your camera? This can be set up in the menu by finding the Record tab and tapping to the next page. Now you can choose your project frame rate. The project frame rate is the actual speed of the file and is best set to 24 FPS. Beside that is the off-speed recording button, and there are different speed options you can use depending on which resolution you're using, going all the way up to 120 frames per second if you're in 1920 by 1080. You can also toggle on the off-speed recording option by pressing the HFR button to the right of the touchscreen. And that's basically how off-speed recording works in this camera. Feel like I missed something or said something wrong? Please let us know in the comments below so we can correct it. Thanks for watching today's episode. Be sure to subscribe to our channel below and hit the notification bell to keep up to date with our latest videos. Until next time, this is John Owens with Frame Voyager.